Please allow me to make some concluding remarks on 2018's Budget and Committee of Supply debates. I would like to begin with a few words of thanks. Mr. Speaker, sir, we would not have had such a smooth COS if not for your even-handed stewardship of the debate proceedings. On behalf of all the members in this House, I wish to thank you and your deputies for presiding ably over the sessions and maintaining high standards for the proceedings. Our thanks also go to the Parliamentary Secretariat and support staff in this chamber, in the library, in the members' room, at the gate, for dedicated assistance, the translators who persevered along with us, as well as to all the officers from the ministries and agencies who have worked hard to support us from behind the benches. I would also extend my appreciation to the members of the media who have brought the debate to Singaporeans. The Minister for Finance said in his budget statement that Budget 2018 was about laying the foundation for our nation's future. Over the last 8 days, members in this House debated on what we can do, how we can do better to create a brighter future together. Budget 2018 outlines the steps we will take to prepare for a changing global economic landscape, rapid technological advances, and an aging population. These shifts present opportunities for growth, but also challenged the strength of our social compact. As we embrace globalization and technology to expand opportunities for our businesses, to transform industries and build deep capabilities, how do we ensure that we move forward together and leave no one behind? Coupled with recent interest on the issue of social inequality, it comes as no surprise that MOM, MTI, and MCCY dominated much of the airtime in this debate. Members asked how we could support different segments of the workforce so that everyone has a place in the future economy, be it helping older workers and women, uplifting low-wage workers, or supporting freelancers and self-employed persons. While we strive to transform our industries, members were also concerned about the prospects of local firms, SMEs, and displaced PMETs, and how we can help them strengthen capabilities and remain competitive so that good jobs are created for our people. Members' questions for MCCY reflected their interest in the softer aspects of nation building. Members rightly highlighted that besides preparing our workforce for the future economy, we also need to strengthen social cohesion across race, religion, and class lines, and create diverse and inclusive opportunities for Singaporeans to grow and pursue their aspirations. Across the House, members were concerned about whether Singapore was prepared to deal with external threats and internal challenges. On foreign policy and security matters, members debated how Singapore could respond to the changing geopolitical landscape, the dangers of segregationism and extremism, and the demands of cybersecurity. On domestic issues relating to housing, transport, and environment, members welcomed the measures to better support families by reducing the waiting time for flats for young couples, to better regulate personal mobility devices and shared bikes, and to make Singapore more environmentally sustainable. Members also discussed at length enhancements to education, social services delivery, and healthcare. This year, a joint address was delivered by MSF, MOH, and MCCY on SG Cares, which reminded us that in good times and bad, it is the spirit of giving, caring, and compassion that binds us together. I should remind the House of the role that you have played, Speaker, in planting the seeds of SG Cares. You have been a passionate advocate in calling upon Singaporeans to play an active part in creating a caring and cohesive society, and you continue to co-chair the committee with Desmond and I. Indeed, nation building goes beyond what the government can do through its policies and efforts. So much more can be achieved when we do it as one united people. With everyone playing their part, Singapore can stand fast in the face of challenges to come. Mr. Speaker, this year saw a total of 530 cuts filed for a total time of 3,120 minutes, or 52 hours, the longest speech time required for cuts over the past 5 years. This speaks to the breadth and gravity of the issues we face today. The debate over the past 8 days has been rigorous. I thank the members for undertaking their roles with dedication and for upholding decorum in this House. More importantly, MPs stayed true to speaking up for their residents, for our people. But beyond the figures and the measures we discussed, some members searched deep. What are the purposes that we wish to achieve? And how do we get there? Ms. Kwek Xiao-Yin reminded us that beyond being pragmatic in an uncertain future, we must also be bold enough to fight for our ideals. But I agree with Mr. Murae Pillay that pragmatism and ideals are not mutually exclusive. To tackle the problems of today and prepare ourselves for tomorrow, we must be bold and embrace change. We must have that grit and bias for action that makes us an exceptional nation. This would not be the case had we no ideals. We are an unexpected nation that triumphed against all odds. Through tenacity and sacrifice, through courage and adaptability, our forefathers built a nation that all of us can proudly call our home. They upheld the values and ideals of meritocracy, incorruptibility, multiracialism, and personal responsibility to build a modern and vibrant city with opportunities for all. Today, we can walk the streets feeling safe at night. We take clean air and water for granted. All our children go to good schools where guns and drugs are unheard of, and our youth have diverse opportunity to pursue their dreams. Singaporeans, young and old, are dreaming big and striving to give their best. Ms. Kwek observed that children in Singapore have big dreams, regardless of their socio-economic status. We want to support them in achieving their ambitions. This is why I dedicated myself to public service. When I entered politics, I wanted to help build a Singapore where my children could grow up in a safe environment that protects them from harm, a Singapore where they can find meaningful work and opportunities to realize their potential, a Singapore where they can build a happy home and know the joy of raising their own families, and the space to find fulfillment and give back to society. I believe this is a future that is shared by many of us here. It is the legacy we wish to gift our children. How do we get to our ideal state? We have to find ways that work. I know that we achieve this not by spoiling our children and giving them everything on a silver platter, not by disregarding how race and religion continue to define us, even though meritocracy means we have equal opportunity, and not by promising our children equal outcomes regardless of effort. I know that the best way is to teach our children how to fish instead of promising an endless supply of fish. This is what this budget is about. The government plays the role of an enabler by supporting enterprise, creating a business-friendly environment, providing incentives for lifelong learning and helping workers upskill, enhancing support for education and social services, and fostering an environment of compassion and care. We're providing opportunities for Singaporeans to achieve their dreams and creating a society where everyone takes ownership. Every budget is a social vision and a statement of values. Mr. Speaker, I believe my ideal Singapore is shared by many of my colleagues in this chamber and many more of you outside, all of whom are working hard to build the future that we want for each other, for our children, and for our children's children, the best way we know how. Ultimately, success will depend less on what the government does, but far more on what each and every one of us chooses to do today and every day. To win the future, to ride out the challenges of income inequality, disruptive technology, and an aging society, we need the support of all Singaporeans, young and old, to nurture a strong society with an entrepreneurial dare and a smart nation with a heart. Together with everyone in Singapore, we can build a strong Singapore society anchored in meritocracy, self-reliance, hard work, and compassion for the vulnerable, and realize our ideal of being one united people. And where ideals and drive meet ability and opportunities, Singapore will be a wild place to seize the future. Thank you.